Today's May 25th, 2020. I'm recording a dream I had yesterday, May 24th, and this had to do with Rondi. I don't remember the details of what took place in the dream, but the essence of the dream itself is like we were walking and talking, and it felt very post-apocalyptic, like almost like when you've gone through so much trauma and you're kind of recuperating from things, because it's like we were walking like in a region like felt like a ghost town. It was like a long line of almost like mobile homes that were connected like a train, and there were other people, but I can't remember who was in the dream. But so all I can remember was he and I talking with each other and like making an assessment of things that were going on. So all I can feel into the essence of all of this, it's like Randy and I are communicating in the deep uh, uh, parts of our subconscious minds together. And it's like how I'm connecting to my masculine energy with him is like we're rebuilding. It just feels like a rebuilding of that. Um, and a lot of it I feel is coming from all that anger that I've been processing, pushing through, speaking out, posting, speaking out, everything just louder and louder and louder with my voice or with the words in capital letters, like really expressing. So it just feels so strong. Because then now the next thing is that today, May 25th, about an hour or two ago, I ended up um, receiving some type of notification to do with the SBL program. And, I was surprised. And not because it was coming from them directly, but because I got a notification to do with my credit being pulled or changed to do with my credit file. So when I went to look, it was actually the SBL program. So I thought that was already dead and gone. I didn't know there was going to be anything further. So either way, the energy of receiving is what I felt coming from it. So Spirit led two videos that came to me to do with this confirmation of receiving like a large amount of money to come from them as far as the loan is concerned. But I'm choosing for everything that comes to me is just free, free, free. There's nothing I'm choosing to create as having any burdens whatsoever or having any debts, because debts, DEPTS, represents death. It's just a death, and it pulls our energy fields down when we keep having to owe something where we don't even owe anything because it's owed back to us. That's the balance of the karma. And so no soon after that, I was led to a video that involved this young man named Kevin, who's also always, spreading information to do with any of the stimulus payments or anything that's changing with them, making more decisions for more stimulus payments or anything in detail. So anyway, his YouTube channel is Meet Kevin, and he actually put out a video to do with an update to do with stimulus and how Black people, they are not treated fairly when it comes to the CARES Act and the stimulus payments, because most Black people or Spanish people, which I call them Black too anyway, they do not own homes, they rent. And so they only set it up for people who rent, that you have a whole year that your landlord can't take you to court, but you're still going to be responsible for your rent. Because even if someone has not been working, they're only getting a portion of what they get from unemployment. The only ones who benefit from anything to do with the CARES Act, to be honest, is people who own a large business. They're able to get a large amount of capital. And small business, if they do have something, they have to justify whatever monies they receive. They have to justify that PPP program by paying for the payroll first and anything to do with rent afterwards. So it's not really anything that saves their business, because if people are not buying, if they're not spending, if they're not putting any money out for any type of business, it takes a while to build up back that business. So most of these businesses are going to be going out of business. And most of these businesses are owned by Black minority peoples, the smaller business. And so the backdrop is that people not only have their rent to pay with their business, but they have their personal home and, or their apartment or whatever they rent, they still have those expenses besides car, food. If they have children, they got to pay for all these things. And the government just doesn't give a flying fuck. And it's just so annoying to know that there's people out there that are taking up for this man in power and all these other people in power, because they're the ones that are making decisions to what happens with all of our lives. And no one can actually see deeper to how they're just a bunch of crooked motherfuckers. So anyway, when I listened to Kevin talk, it just made me feel even angrier. And what made me even angrier is the fact that I don't feel as if things are balanced out with people speaking up more about this. I appreciate the fact that Kevin spoke out about it, but I feel like there's no balance with people that I connect to that are seeing the greater picture of what is happening here. That even if someone else is bringing light to it, are you doing something to bring light to it as well? Are you sharing this and getting other people to open their eyes? There could be somebody that has a connection to a government official or somebody to get something changed here and in action. Because to think preposterously that we can come into a union energy and yet still the people who are just as important as we are to receive their gifts and to receive their abundance and to receive their homes without having to worry about rent and food, that is how things are in balance. That's how things are in balance. It's not supposed to be where we're all in our happy-go-lucky space, and they're not. You see, and it doesn't sit right with me. And so I just got more riled up again, and I shared the video and I wrote some stuff in there that I don't want anybody asking me how I'm feeling, because every day it weighs on my heart to how people are affected and people who are not speaking up and people who are not taking action and people who are not putting themselves in other people's shoes. And I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to be taken out of my home, and I know what it's like to not have. I know what it's like to go in the penny jar. I know what it's like when you have family members not well and you still got to think about paying your mortgage and all. I've been there. I've owned a home. I've owned homes and I've rented. I've had to rent, and I know the Spirit had me rented because I get to see and feel that other side of the coin, what it feels like to go through this and what other people go through, you see? And so it's like the ones who have and have and have all the time, they're not feeling this as much. They're not feeling it at all. They don't give a fuck. So that's why I do not support anything in government, anything to do with anyone that makes decisions over others, because they do not have the capacity to put themselves in another person's shoes, you see? And so because of that, me posting, I noticed there was a young man who posted on a comment. He posted a comment on the guy's Kevin's YouTube channel, and he wrote, "I can't believe a white man is telling the truth with no bias. Wow, I'm really a fan now." And so when I noticed that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then all of a sudden I heard Spirit saying, I heard Rondi saying, well, did you notice something else? And I'm like, what? And when I noticed, his name is King Harris. And I was like, oh my God. I said, to me, when I see that, all I can feel is that I'm putting my beloved in a position of power, of him being able to reclaim himself. And it may sound strange, like, how does that relate to me making a statement and talking about other people and what they've gone through? Because we had always represented the new kingdom. We represented the disparity of what people went through when they didn't have. And so we were the ones that created things to happen to move into the city of Amarna in order for us to recreate there where people were not being controlled and told what to do and how much they can have. And so even though we went on our merry fucking way, staying in our own fucking lane, of course, we had the vultures that were very angry, because they just like to see other people suffer. They like to see, and then there's those in our camp that we trusted that went and betrayed us behind our backs because either they didn't speak up, they didn't say anything, and they continued with the facade to try to be on two sides of the fence, because sometimes for people, when it comes to starting change and making change, they're not comfortable making bigger movements with speaking up and saying things or doing things, because they want to see first which side is going to suit them better. So they usually like to go back to the old ways of what it used to be, because they rather have something than coming into a new energy with something changed, because what if it doesn't work? What if I lose more? But right now, the universe is not supporting the old energy. So no matter what anybody wants to hold on tight to, oh, let's wait and see what somebody does, or let's wait and see if the government says something or does something, or let me wait for somebody to decide for me, or let me just sit back and maybe it'll just, God will take care of it. No, we take care of it. That's why we're here in the physical world. That's why we're here in the physical realm. And so I couldn't help but feel something putting an honor back to my beloved, because it wasn't just about the fact that he was angry that people did not honor me and honor who we were, but the mere fact that the Black man has been put down, the Black families have been put down and dishonored continuously, lifetime after lifetime. And all I know is that all true twins, all original twins, were all Black. And I feel this disassociation of those who are non-Black in complexion. I'm saying that it doesn't really matter because it's Black people's problems. But I'm saying is that they're also Black. You see, because the Blackness and the Black energy and the configuration of how we started on the beginning applies to all. It applies to all of us. You see, and the reason it applies to all of us is because if you've been who you are from the beginning as being Black, that means that you are also holding the DNA, the original DNA of what has occurred in the past to what has affected you. And it also has affected your beloved. And if you're not tapping into that inner core of who you are and who you were before on all timelines and all energy, and you're not looking at it, you're fragmenting. You're not moving anywhere. It stays stuck and more stuck and more stuck and more stuck whenever there's an avoidance. You see, if you're not participating, if you're not speaking up, if you're not saying anything, if you're not connecting to that energy of what other people have felt, because it's you that has felt it too. So if you're not speaking up and you have felt it too, what happens with the energy? It comes in another form through someone else, and it comes up in your face. And then if you're not looking at it again from that viewpoint, the energy is going to show up in another way. So it is not only Black people problem. It's not only the Spanish people who are still Black people problem. It is not just the Indian problem who are still Black. It is not just this, and this separately. It's all of us. It's all of us. It matters. And so because it matters, you see, because matters is something that's created in what comes into form. When someone says, what's the matter? What's the matter with her? What's the matter with you? Because it's something that forms into something that is stemming from the emotional body. And when the emotional body is not dealt with on a deep cellular level, it forms into what? Matter. And that's why we say, what's the matter? What's up? And so when we get into that frequency of what's the matter, most of the time people address what's the matter on the surface. In other words, they're not going deeper into the solar plexus where the matter has stored itself. The matter has stored itself into another frequency of what has not been dealt with. And this is what creates the illnesses, the emotional discrepancies, the emotional breakdowns, the mental breakdowns, the physical breakdowns in the body, the cellular breakdowns of the body. Because when it starts to go into the energy of the cellular energy, that's what attaches to the etheric body. The etheric body is what's connected to the divine feminine, in which the divine masculine is also within that divine feminine that connects to her physical divine masculine. So when the cellular part of the body is disconnected, in discord, is also feeling emotionally distraught from past lives to when you were black, guess what? It affects that union and that harmonious space. And so the black man who originated from those times is feeling dishonored, is feeling let down, is feeling abandoned, is feeling against his what? Divine feminine. And so he attracts himself towards a karmic partner in which all of that energy, they came and say, oh, go be with someone else. Go be with someone else. You can create their power with someone else. You see? And therefore what happens is they don't feel the connection completely with their sacred feminine because they're programmed into going into the lower frequency instead of the highest frequency of their connection. So until she rises to her full power by balancing everything that has been distorted in the energetic field, which includes sexual abuse, verbal abuse, dishonorment, disempowerment, and both on feminine and masculine side, both on male and female bodies, because each female and male bodies comes into a different energy field depending on hormones and factors involved with backgrounds and cultures, because we've all come in so many different forms and so many different aspects of self. And so each part of itself that's out of balance is what the divine feminine has to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And don't stop to how deep you go within these wounds and everything that has kept us just trapped and the blockages, because we don't want to look and see all of the spectrum of all the time, space, reality, everything connected to that emotional body, the mental body, and more importantly, the etheric body. Because when those chakras are out of alignment because of pain and discord, because when anyone is in pain and anyone is in discord, the block that it creates is not being able to feel the true essence of love. And so anything else that shows up within that other person whose energy body is out of sync, it repels with each other. It goes against itself because it's not feeling the connection fully. So that's the reason why when we meet our divine masculine or meet our divine feminine, if they're not in their full chakra balance within their energy body, because the energy body is the last body before it comes into the physical. So each time you have dreams or you say something, because the vibration that comes with speaking out shifts all time and realities. And so you got to ask yourself, why am I holding myself back? Why? If anyone remembers what was written in the scriptures, was, matter of fact, I'm going to get it because I'm going to talk about being guided to talk about how creation began on so many levels, because, you know, there is truth. There is truth to some of the original written words, and they all carry a hint and a clue to what comes next. You see? It does. So I'm going to go to the book of Genesis, Genes of Isis, the original form, the original feminine, the original creation, right? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, did you hear that? And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness, to separate the two, so we can get to see ourselves in two different elements, even though it may seem like a separation, but it is still a part of the process. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place. So the point I'm making, and because as I go further and further and further, everything is, and God said, and God said. What is the word said? Said is something what? Spoken. Said is what? The voice. Said is what? Something that echoes out into all time and reality. The voice moves mountains. The voice creates. The voice brings what? Form. The voice manifests. The voice is powerful, not power empty. It's full. It's a vibration that ripples. Imagine if we had 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90, 100,000 voices speaking out in all time and space reality. My, how the waters would rush, the power, the force into what we create. Then it always being one person that is doing the talking, the speaking. And I'm not talking about writing. Yes, it's wonderful that we have written things and we write. But guess what? It is not the same vibration. It is not the same vibration. Again, it is not the same vibration as speaking out. The highest level of communication and moving things and making things happen is in the physical realm, where you apply your voice, your hands, your feet, something. There is no excuse for anything, because even your mind can make something move. Your thoughts can make something move. Your heart can make something move. So imagine if you apply your heart, your legs, your feet, your voice. What'll happen? It'll move things. It'll shift things. It'll clear things. It's a declaration. God did not say, oh, I think I'm going to make the firmament waters. I think I'm going to make the light. No. God is in the I am presence of the I am, of who I am, and will always be eternally. World without end, Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, the first and the end and the last, and back to the beginning again. Complete that circle. We must complete the circle. We must speak out the voice as it was in the beginning. 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 As it was from the void. As it was from the center. As it was from the circle. And then it created more circles. And then it also went into a straight line. The voice, when the voice speaks and it ripples out, it doesn't go in a straight line. It moves in the direction that goes from left, then it bounces to the right, then it moves upward and it goes down. That's the spectrum of the voice. The voice does not keep still. The voice is always in motion. The voice remembers itself and what it puts out there, because it connects itself, herself, himself. It's not one-sided. It's not just his voice. It's her voice. He honors her voice. He responds to her voice. He hears her voice. He remembers her voice. That's why the mermaids, the voice. He remembers her voice. It's like a sweet lullaby. He hears her calling. He feels her vibration. He knows. He knows. Just one little sound, he recognizes her from her voice. Then he feels her heart, because it is connected. It's an interconnectivity that nothing can break or pull it apart. See? Not now, not ever. Not ever. Because there's power in the voice. The voice has been suppressed, demonized, thrown out the door. Why do you think they cut out the tongues, slash the throat, behead you, bury you alive, so no one can hear the voice? The voice has been in so much pain and so much calamity and so much suppression, strangled, punched in the throat, joking at the throat with a spear or something. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whatsoever is bound is now loosened. And it can only be loosened through you. You see? And you see, here's another thing what I'm hearing coming from Spirit is that they made up these names to make it seem like it's a bad thing to loosen yourself up. You're a slut. You're a whore. Who do you think you are? How dare you? You better go in that corner and shut your mouth. You cannot be loose, because if you are loose, you are rebelling. How dare you rebel against God? And then they twist it up and make it seem like if you say you're rebelling against God, you're going against the principles of what God says, because that's when they threw in all these little words and say the female is supposed to keep her mouth quiet. She's not supposed to say anything. Oh. And then the masculine feels like, well, she doesn't say anything, then I can't say anything too, because each time they spoke up, they were enslaved even more and punished. See? And the black woman was also punished for taking up for the black man. And then the black man became dishonored even deeper. So who's going to take up for the black man? When does it begin? How does it begin? Ever. The black man was sent out into the fields to enslave himself. His powers were diminished. His powers were dishonored. He was not able to connect to his divine feminine the way how it used to be. He was forced to have sexual relations with anyone else that fit the agenda. He was told that he cannot create with his divine feminine. So the only way that he can create is that you be a good boy, do what you're supposed to do what you're told, and then you'll be rewarded. So everything went into the existence of, reward and punishment and reward. I'll chop off your foot. I'll skin your back. I'll kill your children. I'll send them off into another plantation. Otherwise, you better do what I say or that's it. And many of our divine masters fought hard. They went to war. They were forced to go to war. Their hearts did not want to be that, but they were told that this is the only way they'll be able to keep whatever power that they had left. And then their dignities were also taken away because, of course, they had their own lands, their fields and stuff like that. So don't let all those other old stories fool you into thinking that the black man did not own anything, or the black man did not have anything, or the black man doesn't deserve anything, and the black woman is only good for having sex with anyone else and for procreational purposes, and her breast was only to provide to feed only the babies that were either white, and she was under the slave master's thumb to only be a slave. And so her powers and her role were diminished as well. And she was not honored either. She didn't have her black man to honor her the way how it was before. You see? So the illusions kept going further and further and deeper and lower in consciousness when it comes to empowerment of the black and the black families, the culture, the structures, the love, the power, the beauty of the earth. Everything started to die and disintegrate. Children became separated from their mothers. Mothers were separated from their children. Mothers were separated from their true beloveds. Mothers became impregnated through force of rape and annihilation, ripped apart, dishonored. They passed away being very angry, feeling totally disrespected, and they felt powerless. They did not have their protectors with them. No more. It's gone. So they left out of these realities angrier and angrier, and also the divine masculine. They became angrier. So how do we change that? We cannot look away anymore with this. It is unacceptable. It's not going to be swept under the rug anymore. So you see, the mere fact that I honored all of my black men, every single fucking one of them, whether I gave birth to them or not, whether they're my children, whether it's someone in the past that has been on a throne or a purpose of what they've served for humanity, because if it wasn't for the black man, the earth would die just as much as the woman. The black man holds that space. He holds the dark matter. He holds that matter so that way the divine feminine finds herself again and brings back that light and sheds light to the darkness, to the shadow, to the parts of itself that separated itself to know itself. You see? You cannot know your power until you become disempowered. You cannot know your strength unless you are faced with your weaknesses. You cannot know the light unless you face the dark. See? And once you set her free and unleash her and unleash the Kraken, unleash the power that has been dormant from centuries upon centuries upon centuries upon centuries, then nothing moves. Nothing moves. So she straightens out her crown. You see, no one, nor powers, nor other force on any galaxy or planetary system can take away from you what is yours by right of consciousness. The key is to find yourself, to find and redefine the power of who you are then and now, because whatever is happening now is happening then. It never left. It's still happening now. Until you reconcile yourself and all the different personalities, names, who you are, dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. The more you dig, the more you understand and remember yourself. All the identities that you have created. That is what sets the captive free. You now remember yourselves. You now know who you are. Your sacred masculine or sacred feminine remembers who he or she is. They now feel and see themselves. They are connected to the true code, the true frequency of themselves, connected to their beloveds. The beloved seeks you when you are ready. And alas, she remembers herself. She finds the right key that fits through the door. She remembers what she did before. And she drinks the cup of life, eternal life. She drinks of that cup and she grows back into the size, into who she is. And therefore she remembers which key opens the door to finding herself. And when she finds herself, he then connects to her on all levels. And he no longer seeks outside of himself, but he remembers, or she remembers, the code that has become unlocked. From a subconscious level, he knows and he doesn't know. He remembers and he doesn't remember. Because Spirit orchestrated it for the divine feminine energy to remember herself first. And that we listen. It's sacred ears. We listen and we listen some more and we listen some more and we listen some more. And each time that we unlock another door and another door, it's like a Pandora's box. We don't put a time to it. We don't put any attachment to it. We let it flow and let it flow just like the water. And so now the voice returns, and the voice is now creating the new earth. The new earth is created through our voice and our vibration. So as we are releasing the old, we're also creating the new. But creating the new is not going to just be created just because we sit there and don't speak out, because it becomes a rippling effect when it comes to change. The change starts from the within subatomic level, and then it gets to atomic levels. It creates a nuclear blast. And that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. Just from this dream. What I'm hearing just from the metaphysical elements with the message, turning lead to gold. So she snatches the crown back. She snatched that crown back, places it on her head. And she puts her king back into the position of power. And there's your checkmate. That's checkmate. And I don't play chess. See, it's either you play chess or checkers. Because that's what this reality is, like chess or checkers. You make your move, they make their move. But the they can be any aspect of they. It's either you play with the outside players that have fucked with you, or you play where you're placed by the universe, by the cosmos, by the everlasting source creator of feminine and masculine mother, father principle. So you know when to play your role and to make that mother sucker snap right back into the position of who you are. See? That's it. It doesn't matter what is playing in all that physical element, that this one, that too. But then again, it does matter because it's what you're going to do with it. And you use it to your advantage to receive. So that way there's a karmic balance again on the planet, and that the observation of what has been before, what has happened before, what has occurred before has now released itself on another level. And you start to feel something move towards you with the greater blessings. And that's what I hear. So I give honor and thanks to my king. I give honor and thanks to the king and the queen that have risen to their power, that have risen to their position of power, to the point where I'm not waiting for someone to give me back my crown. No, I create my queen and kingdom. Me, myself, and my beloved, we are creating and recreating our new kingdom. See? And all the clues and all the messages and all the dreams is just validating what I know. And so it is. So be it. Kama makuita na maita konde de pata kania tapata kuida papa. Kama na vindeme undemdata ita kauida papata. Konye ya mana kida lungore bakani miral kodoro kudu sala na barakte koto ita baraka ina bara uda baraka na ita kara uda mara. Hoya baraka na ya hoya baraka no ya maya. Uyara bara yunda. Nyam. Nibala kuturi bila bade kuturi la mara bakatono mera bada katono ne mekatana na bakatono ne mekatana na ketono no bala bala ba. Ne omne